Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. I'm Anne Blackwood, your Silicon Valley Sage Sister, and today I thought on this lazy Saturday, still dressed in my robe, we would stray a little bit from our regular scheduled programming to talk about this movie, The Love Witch, and why I hated it so much. So, let's get into it. So, to start from the beginning, I had started seeing these still frames from a movie which looked like a movie about a witch from the 70s that I didn't recognize. And I thought that was odd because, when I was a teenager with my first boyfriend, we would go across the street to the movie store and pick up every movie, especially from that era, on occultism that was ever made. So I kind of let it go by the wayside, and then slowly but surely I saw more and more of these still shots come up in these memes about witches and was like, what is this movie about this Satanist that I don't know about? So I decided to figure it out. I got just curious enough. So the other week, just this last week, I watched The Love Witch, and there are a whole lot of reasons why this movie rubbed me the wrong way. But the first was the fact that it's like 97% Satanism disguised with like 3% Wicca, and then every most extreme witchcraft stereotype you could have rolled into one. And as someone who used to be a Satanist, it's obvious it's about Satanists. Like, to be fair, it was even Anton LaVey who introduced me to the idea of calling male witches witches instead of warlocks, because warlock means oathbreaker and betrayer. Wicca and Satanism both have its roots in traditional paganism, and they both come from the same time. I think it's funny. People think Wicca is this ancient tradition, but it's not. It came from the 60s and is a bunch of other pagan traditions wrapped up together, like Satanism is. LaVeyan Satanism. So anyway, you have this movie, The Love Witch, about Satanists, disguising itself as a movie about Wicca and general witchcraft. So that started to bother me a little bit, because from the blue eyeshadow to using naked women as your altar to talking about San Francisco because that's where Anton LaVey is from, the fact that they only say the word Satanism once, and basically what they did was they took any time a Satanist would talk about Satan or say Hail Satan, they took that out and slipped in something Wiccan like Blessed Be. Otherwise, it's quite literally a movie about Satanists. And there are some similarities, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so you've got this movie. It's your quintessential love magic gone wrong movie. And to be fair, they do actually do a relatively good job representing real witchcraft. But there's a reason why I left Satanism behind. And that's because this idea of using your sexuality to get what you want and being a chameleon around other people and changing yourself depending on who you're around is a miserable way of life. So I guess this movie is a good movie if you want to use it as a what not to do thing to watch. But apart from the handful of extreme stereotypes about witchcraft, it's really not a great role model for anybody who wants to really learn about witchcraft, unless you want to learn about Satanism, and in which case actually it's a great example. But it's a bad role model when it comes to a way to live. There's a reason why I teach people, men and women, about the fact that the best way to be happy and healthy in life is to learn who you are, what you like, what you dislike, and find people who match that and who love you for who you are, rather than trying to go out and match everyone else. And especially, on top of that, because of the Satanism, you have it opened the door for every bad feminist stereotype that ever existed. So you've got this girl using her sexuality as a Satanist, as Satanists do, to try to get what she wants, wondering why she's having a bad time of it. And, you know, so she's sitting there dosing these men with these hallucinogenic cocktails, and then in her inner dialogue sitting there going, oh my goodness, these men are so emotional. You know, they're doing this crazy, weird, feminist, like, women in the masculine energy, man in the feminine energy thing. That starts to get annoying because all of a sudden every woman is some stereotype of a woman, and every man is every bad stereotype of a man from the 70s. Man, like, ugh, this movie, one bad trip. And then, like I said, they've got every, like, extreme stereotype of witchcraft to just kind of disguise the Satanism. So you've got women, you know, this woman using her feminine flow blood magic by putting a tampon in a witch bottle. You have her selling soap at the local occult store that she's made by hand. And then, you know, they stumble into a Renaissance fair festival thing. You know, it just, there are good ways and there are bad ways when it comes to going about using stereotypes in general. And as far as witchcraft goes, this is not one of the good ones. The Craft, for instance, would be a good one. This one, not so much. So, this movie, The Love Witch, is a movie about Satanists, pretending to be a movie about Wiccans or just general pagan witches, that has just every bad stereotype you could ever find all rolled into one to make this awful movie. Definitely not on the recommended movie list here in the Balanced Blackwood Tribe, that's for sure. And I would say it was a waste of my time if I wasn't able to be sitting here letting you know exactly why it's not a movie I recommend. Honestly, I don't even remember how it ends. Like, I can't even believe I watched the whole thing. But I decided to watch the whole thing only because as I got more and more through the movie, I realized I was gonna do this video on why I didn't like it. In the grand scheme of things, I think if they had been more upfront about the fact that it was Satanism and not Wicca that they were portraying, I might have been a little more okay with it. If they weren't using all of the awful feminist stereotypes, I might have been more okay with it. Like I said, if you want to use this movie as a what not to example, then it's great. But otherwise, it's cheesy. It's got all of the bad qualities of a movie made in the 70s as well. One bad trip, man. Anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Thank you for joining me for another video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check out the links in the description. I have my bi-monthly energy update that just went out on Patreon. I also have my Spirituality 2.0 series that just got its second video over on Patreon, where we talk about meditation and connecting with our fourth dimensional chakras and how to do that through meditation. I also have my mailing list. If you sign up quickly enough, you might even get in on October's email. Otherwise, you'll get in time for November's because I only do one email a month. That's how you get in on any of the free Zoom calls that I do, including meditations and filming my workshops for them to go up on Patreon. And last but definitely not least, I have my link for the free clarity call as well as my email. If you are ready to heal, grow, and expand, I want to help you do that. Because if there's one thing I've learned in this life, it's that having that foundation of all of your human systems being healthy is what allows happiness to come naturally. So if you're ready to, as I say, get your shit together, make life kinder and simpler, make sure that your holy trinity of health, all your human systems are healthy so that happiness can come naturally, I want to help you do that, and that includes not only the one-on-one sessions that I do, but the Voxer direct messaging where we communicate in between sessions. Thank you guys for joining me for another video. May the energy you serve you well. Let's keep making our way through, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.